everyone. Welcome to this new episode of The Latest Thread. Today, we're going to talk about panel quilting. And I'm not going to have a long explanation because we have lots of pictures that are going to speak to themselves, and we're going to talk about those. Um, you know, just going to say that panels are a great way, especially for beginners, if you don't know where to start. I've used, when I started quilting, used panels a lot because then you have areas that stand out that you feel like you can play rather than just having a blank piece of fabric. Especially if you want to try out a new technique. And on the other hand, even as an experienced quilters, a lot of times there's so many panels out there, you can make a really quick project for a gift. So Sharon, if you don't mind, we're gonna take a look at the pictures. And of course, we're back to the regular order where I go first. This was actually a quilt my mother-in-law made. She is 86, and so she loves panel quilts because she has a hard time cutting out, fabric for piecing. And yeah, I mean, this one here, like I said a minute ago, you have some opportunities to really play. You can highlight certain things. She just wanted an edge to edge, and it was perfect for her little new great-granddaughter.
Oh, I think the pattern that you used to quilt that is one of the free ones that comes in Creative Studio. It's adorable.
Oh, the ducky and the lion. I see it.
Mm-hmm. The dolphin. So there's the little whale dolphin, little water coming out his spout lion.
Mm-hmm. It's like little baby animals.
Yeah.
Very cute.
That's what it's called.
Baby animals?
Yeah.
I think so.
Yeah. Super cute. Really good choice for baby quilt.
And this is actually another one she made. At that time, she was still piecing more. And so she bought a panel with all the animal on it, cut them out and added real fence blocks to it. And again, edge to edge did the trick.
Since we're on the name of naming the pattern, that one's called Cottonseed, and I remember that because I just did it on a baby quilt too.
You're right. That's actually really nice. It quilts out very quickly, know.
It's a really good one for the elevate. Sorry, you go ahead. Say that again.
I said you like the pattern encyclopedia.
Well, I just happened to remember that one. It's really good on the elevate too because of the way it fills all of the space.
Mm-hmm.
Really. Yeah, it's a good one.
And yet again, there's another one my mother-in-law made. Same thing. She bought a panel with the police cars because it was for a child where, the father's a policeman. But on this one, she, because of the contrast in fabrics, she wanted it a little bit more custom. So depending on what fabrics you add, again, you can, play a little bit and I added spiral square type quilting in the 4 patches and did swirls to really make those panel blocks stand out. So panels, they're really versatile, especially like that. The only drawback sometimes I find if I've tried to use a panel like that, they're never printed spot on, so they're not always square. So you may have to do some adjusting in order to make it work for you.
Mm-hmm.
Same thing here. This was a really cool Halloween one with witches. And even though there's a lot going on, she added 2 borders, and I used the spiderweb design. And, it didn't interfere. Edge to edge on panel quilts, you can, like I said earlier, have a finished quick project, for a gift if you like, because unless you're adding a lot of different things, they get finished very quickly.
I think I'm in love with that backing.
I am too.
It looks so nice. I want to see more of that.
Well, it was a whimsical backing, but it was a Halloween print of sort.
Uh-huh. I love it.
Oh,
And again, there's different versions of this print panel. And this one is where I believe it was piece. Don't quote me on that. Like I said, I've actually quilted several that were put together different with the same print. But this one, I wanted to try out a new Baptist fan pattern, and I was kind of leery because we always talk about shrinkage and things like that to make sure how it lines up.
Mhm.
And I really liked it. It worked out. There was no issues at all because on this pattern, there was quite a bit of backtracking. And I was surprised that I didn't have to make any adjustments to the pattern whatsoever.
It was a baby quilt, right?
Yes.
Yeah, if you tried that pattern on a queen or anything bigger than that, there would be issues, but those patterns tend to work better when they really need to line up perfectly on smaller quilts. So that's probably helped you.
it's
Yep, it did.
Mhm. Yeah, super cute.
really cute.
Mm-hmm.
And I thought I'd put this one up there because we did this one for our Gamma online tour. And everybody wanted to quilt the panel.
I think you had to. No.
I guess you're right. So the computerized quilters and the hand-guided quilters all had the same panel. And this one I thought was good to share because it really shows how when you have, the piece blocks that are, in this case, a panel, but all the different quilting you can do. And I personally love quilts like that because you really can do something different in each and every one, which again brings me back to what I was saying earlier. There is so many sites available. They don't just have the cutesy animal panels. I mean, you can go on some of these sites that have literally quilt blocks, printed. So you can really, hone your skills without having to do all the work by making a sample.
Yeah, like a cheater panel, right?
Right. Mhm. Same thing again, you can play. You can try out different techniques, if you have a bunch of them, in each one to see what you like. Yeah, this one was not my favorite. It was from a customer that was very particular. I wanted to do an edge to edge. She did not agree. Sometimes, I'm not trying to be rude, but sometimes you get something that truly does not inspire you. So you just want to do an edge to edge because it fits the quilt, not because you want to be lazy, but she literally wanted me to outline all the characters and, to give them life. I get why she wanted that. It just was not my favorite thing to do.
Yeah,
So
some of
but
those
you can really hone your skills in regards to if you have an applique quilt and you need to learn how to outline things, do you need a ruler to guide you, or can you do it freehand? How do you work across efficiently? How much detail is too much? What's okay? So for that kind of exercise, I think it's good, but yeah.
Mhm. It's good to have clients that challenge us, right?
Yeah, uh-huh. And this one was a little bit different. Again, it's a panel, obviously. That's what we're talking about. And she wanted, it quilted as a wall hanging. So a lot of, doing different things in the petals to make them really stand out.
They look like nice and flowy.
Mhm.
Mhm.
And this is another panel. This one, I believe, is a panel from Paula Nadelstern. And I like doing something like that because it gives you option. Again, you can experiment and try out different things. I sometimes just find that some of those digitally printed panels, as you go through it with your needle, sometimes they're a little bit disappointing because it seems like the needle takes off some of the top layer. And that's to me a downfall. I don't know if it has that quality has improved in the meantime, but I just don't like it, especially on black fabric when you see those lines that your needle leaves and then it's white underneath.
Yeah. There's several things in combination that help to alleviate that, but not one single thing. It's a lot of fidgeting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just another type of panel. Made a nice quilt. I do believe she added a couple borders to it.
Nice and simple quilting on it too.
What's the pattern, Sharon?
Oh, I don't know that one.
Just kidding.
If I don't have it, I don't know it. I was going to say that looks so perfect. That must be edge to edge.
Clearly. What are you implying?
That your squirrels are not
Nobody's
perfect.
perfect.
I thought this one was so cute with the animals, but yeah, that one, you could see just the way she had to cut the panel pieces. That's what I was talking about earlier, that sometimes they're not printed, especially if you have a specific etching around that. You notice that, the spacing with the edging is not consistent because of how it was printed. I thought that was super cute.
Mm-hmm. I love how this face is just peeking into the scene here.
Mhm.
That one was called Zoo Animals.
Ah,
Okay.
good one.
Yeah, and that is from the same customer that wanted everything outlined. And so I did on these fairy panel blocks as well.
Goodness.
She was in her mid-90s when I did this for her. So how could you say no?
Yeah.
You can't.
I like the 60-degree crosshatch over top of like scenes like that. I think it's nice.
I think it looks nice. I will never do it.
This is mine, and it was, these are meant to be cut apart, but it was perfect to make a class sample. That's mostly what I'll use panels for, like, because it's already there, it has things, and you can do different things with the same blocks or whatever. Makes my life easier.
There was a panel that looked like these kind of critters on it that was glow in the dark. Is this one glow in the dark?
No,
No,
uh-uh.
that's not one.
I don't think so.
I would imagine that if Jody got it.
You should try. You should take that into the bathroom and see what happens.
It's really old though. Like,
Yeah.
because I remember pulling it out of there like, good. Oh, I can use this.
Oh, I'm thinking maybe the
What?
glow in the dark one has color on it, but yeah, it's cute.
I love how they printed that bunny. It looks like you quilted it that way.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Mhm.
Little Shashiko bunny.
Mhm.
Shashiko? I always say it wrong. I don't know which way.
Sashiko.
So this is just, it's not really a panel, that yellow, that printed part, it's just vintage fabric. It was yardage. So I just put not even borders, just 2 strips on each side. And then I could just play with filling all those shapes. So that was fun.
Mhm.
Nice.
It's mine. I
Yes,
think
yours.
this is mine. So this was our little panel challenge from the summit in July, and this was mine. They're nice and small,
Yeah.
and I don't know, this was a fun one to do, probably because it was small, then you like, for me anyway, I'll generally spend a lot more time on what I'm going to do
Mhm.
the smaller it is.
Yeah, these were only 18 by 18,
Mhm.
so they were nice and small.
Yeah.
Mhm. Oh, so this is what you see on the left, those blocks, that's an actual panel, and I was adding 2 borders to it because I needed a quick gift. And like Ava had mentioned earlier, if you get a panel and add 2 borders, you're done in an afternoon, not even. So I think the next one's quilted. So yeah, I just did an edge to edge on it, but you can see that all those squares are a panel, and then I just added 2 little borders to it.
Cute.
It is cute. Like that little raccoon poking, like
I
his
know.
side there, coming out of the corner.
He's like, hey, what's up?
The bear's doing the same thing.
Mhm.
Awesome. Oh, that's super
Oh,
cute.
so there it is, finished. And I don't remember what that pattern was called, but to me it looked like tree trunks, so
Oh,
it
yeah.
the
yeah.
woodland theme,
Hmm?
With a slice.
a slice. Yeah.
Yes, slice, yeah. With all the rings.
And this was a client, little, this was only maybe like 12 by 20, I think. So I just quilted, she wanted that quilted, and I'm like, so I just traced all the lines and then made some starburst out. That was it.
Those waves look really lifelike, really
I know.
3D.
I
I like
as
the
if you just
foam on it.
if you just follow their colors of the
Mhm.
it comes out perfect.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then those 4 or 5 squares were a panel that a client had cut up and then did the pieced basket blocks and then added some borders.
Oh my gosh, look at your little cherries in here.
Yeah. Once you do that on a cherry quilt,
That's awesome.
matched.
Yeah.
Little basket of cherries.
Mhm.
Well, I need those baskets to be arranged differently.
Yeah, I was looking
They'd be
at
going
that.
like out. I mean, I guess this is what she wanted.
That's what she wanted. But it made it easy to keep all the cherries lined up. So
Oh, yeah.
Wow.
So these are, this is my actual first attempt at doing panels at all. I didn't have grandkids at the time, so didn't really get into doing panels. But when the Dream Big panels came out, I just saw so much potential with them because each of the petals could be quilted a little bit differently. So it kind of allowed me to stretch and grow in that like I did hearts in the center of one, a flower in the center of another, a heart and thinking that one, and a hummingbird. But it allowed me to, like, I did 1 row of fills, 1 row of ruler work, and then another row of feather work. So it was just really kind of fun to try to come up with different fills. So to do those with, and then that's my niece, grandniece in that picture. She's only 4
Cutie.
months old, which is the only time they've ever used the quilt. But I loved it as a teaching tool too, because I think it was great for students to be able to try to do something different in each of the petals as well.
And when you're trying a new fill, you may not want to try it over an entire background. So just like one
Right.
petal, one petal makes it Like,
Let you
well,
know if you like it or not.
there you go.
Right.
Exactly.
It just gave it so much more dimension by doing something a little bit different in each of the things. I believe they have, for the Statler, they have packets. Just
They
for
do.
the gig, is that correct?
Yes.
Yeah, so these were all done free motion, but I know that if you want to do the computer guided, they have fills for this particular panel, so that's pretty cool too.
Yeah, they can be done on both the Statler and the Elevate.
Oh, on the Elevate too? Okay.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
They were just fun. I'm getting ready to put another one on there for Christmas for my daughter. Because they're just kind of quick and easy to do.
Yeah.
Or are they quick? Are they
Well,
quick though?
Doesn't look like they're quick, but
I've done ones and they're not quick.
Yeah.
They're fun.
Once you get that, for me, it was kind of like once I came up with my own little system, like
Yeah.
fills here, ruler work here, and feathers here. So I had that
Yeah.
degree of, separation
Mhm.
between the curve and the straight lines. Then it became a little bit easier because I didn't have to think as much about it. But the first one took me forever.
I think I did a couple, the one, and I can't remember which one it was. Gosh, I found it really hard to distinguish where the
yeah.
edge of the
Petals.
panels are because the petals, because you're so close to it and the way it's printed, it's like gradated. And I'm like, is this the outside edge? I had to take my chalk marker and actually.
That's the beauty of them is
I
that
did the same
they're
thing.
not perfectly on whatever you think an edge is. It doesn't show, right? You don't see
Yeah.
any of those
Right.
deviations. Yeah.
But I did have one lady and she bought 4 of these and sewed them together with some sashing between them and sent it to me to quilt it. And I'm like, this is my worst nightmare. It was, I'm just looking at it
No.
and she said, oh no, I don't need much quilting. I just want lines kind of radiating out from the center. And I'm like, whew. Because they didn't even match. There were 4
Can you
different.
imagine if they
that
wanted a
didn't-
different fill in every one of them?
No, I didn't. Mm-mm.
So
Oh,
I'm going to
that's
keep the dream big train going here.
That's
Um,
really pretty.
Thank you. And in this one, instead of putting something different in every single one of the panels, I chose more of a cohesive theme with one had feathers in it and one had nested swirls in them,
Mhm.
and just tried to separate them as much as possible, although it sometimes gets hard not to have the same beside same, just the way the panel
Petals.
is. But
Mhm.
yeah, but I mean, what you see on these is just so much beautiful texture. And
Yeah, it looks almost like lace work on there. It's really pretty.
mhm. Yeah, thank you.
They should print those on silk, or not on silk, but like satin. even.
Oh, wouldn't that be
Oh,
awesome?
wouldn't they be nice? Yeah. And this one I decided instead of following the petals, just to design just a whole cloth on top of it. And I liked the neutral cream Dream Big panel because it looks like, I mean, you can't even really tell it's a Dream Big panel. Of course, we're on the topic, so but if you didn't know already, you may not pick it out right away and just think, oh, it's a nice kind of creamy mottled background. So they do make nice backdrops for doing whole cloth. So that's one of the things you can look at when you're looking at panels.
I have to think about doing that.
And this, I did the same thing with this one. It was when I first got my Statler, and I wanted to try and teach myself a bunch of new like little how to do this and how to do that on it. And so I broke apart patterns and I put them back together and I used them in different ways. And so again, just completely ignored the petals themselves on the panel and just treated it as a whole cloth. So that was a lot of fun. Those are my 2 favorite colors right there. Love them. And then of course they made them into wide backs.
Yeah.
So we've been quilting edge to edges on them for wide backs. And that basically it's just a big, huge panel. So the wide backs, I think that a lot of people are using them as backings originally, but then why not use it as the front of the quilt or make it a reversible quilt, right? So yeah, and that, I know the name of that pattern, it's called Sherbet Pearls. I love that one. So it kind of had some of the same elements from the way I quilted the other Dream Big panels, but it was an edge to edge, so I didn't have to
Well, if
do it
you
all.
get 4 of the correct colors, you have like all seasons. Just, you know, keep changing out your bed for the season.
You just make 2 quilts and you flip them over. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then of course, because I did the other one with the feathers and the swirls, I had a client bring me one that she pieced, and I think I have a picture of the whole thing next. We'll see. But it was one big dream big panel in the center, and then she cut up another one for the 2 more for the corners. So the center was kind of similarly done as the other one with the feathers and swirls. There's the whole quilt.
Oh, wow. Mhm.
That's cool.
Ooh,
So I think that's 3 panels altogether. Yeah, because this corner and that corner would be 1 panel. And then that corner and that corner would be 1 panel.
Mm.
So,
that's neat.
That is
yeah.
pretty cool.
Just different, very different.
Yeah, there's a lot of the same thing. Like you said, I guess once you figure out what you're doing, it's just, okay, now I just have to do this 8,000 more times. And this is another wide back that somebody used as a top. So I think it's so neat to look at those wide backs and go, okay, well, I can use that as the top of a bedspread because they are big enough, right?
Yeah.
The challenge is getting a backing to be big enough to quilt these,
Oh, yeah, you'd have to, yeah.
because these are
An
already
extra
wide
wide
back.
backing.
And
for
what
the-
are they?
No, you just put a seam, make a column down the center. Just cut a wide back in half and add some fabric in there.
Add some more. Yeah.
Are they 108 usually, right?
Yeah. Yeah, these ones are. And this is another wide back that one of the kids wanted for an actual, I mean, that's an awesome quilt, right?
Mhm.
So we were like, okay, that's I think I've done that a couple of times with that university planet sun in the middle. And they're super fun.
Very cool.
I did this one for my mom. I think it's hanging above her bed actually. So I used the modern curve as the edge to edge in the background of where the owl is, because I wanted the trees to have a little bit of windy movement to them.
Mhm.
And then in here just outlined and detailed the branch and the owl, because that I wanted to become have to be like in the forefront, and everything
That's
else
a
kind
really
of
pretty.
background.
Yeah.
So I mean, just because you custom quilt some of the panel doesn't mean you have to custom quilt all of it, right? But they are really good opportunity. And you didn't pay much for them, right? Like you didn't have to piece it. You didn't have to, like, I mean, panels are usually, around a 1/2 meter to 1 meter at the most, right? So
Yeah.
this one is a 1/2 meter. And if you can find some that look like piecing, you can just practice all of your different quilting designs in them for ideas. So I call this my idea panel. So when I'm trying to figure out what I can put in a block, as you can see on this one, there's several different pinwheels, there's several 4 patches and so on, but they're all little 4-inch blocks. And so you can challenge yourself to, okay, how many things can I put in a 4 patch, right? How many things can I put in a pinwheel block? And so just kind of helps you think outside the box, and you didn't have to piece anything. There was another wide back that the customer cut apart. I love how she did this panel, how she broke it all up. Like it's completely like the sashing right in the middle of it and her blocks on the side.
It's like a window.
Mhm.
Mhm.
Yeah.
It does. Yeah. And the design on this one is called Water E2E, and it's definitely our most popular edge to edge design for quilts. Or anything that has anything to do with water or fishing, wildlife and stuff. That's a nice one. And I have one tip. I think this is one of my last pictures. Because I noticed that a lot of the panel quilts that I get, because they're made bigger, whether it's a border or piece blocks around them, you end up with fullness on the inside
Mhm.
of the quilt. And so I don't know, I'm going to see if you can see this. Can you see these
Yeah.
ripples in here?
There's
Yeah.
2 of
This is
them.
where I use my Gamel quilt clips, because typically you'd use them across the whole belly bar to prevent that fabric from shifting up and getting extra shrinkage and making your borders more wavy. But you can apply those quilt clips wherever you want them. So in this case, I just have them on the outside on the border because the border was nice and straight, but the center was super full. So that enabled me to kind of work some of that fullness in on every single pass so that when I got to the bottom, it was hanging straight. So and you can use them in the center of the belly bar and leave the outside off as well if the borders are super wavy. So yeah, no, I think that is my last picture. It is. We are done all of our pictures.
That was a lot of pictures.
It
Yeah.
was.
There's a lot of panels out
there. Wow, so much eye candy. I hope you all enjoyed seeing all those pictures and our discussion about all the possibilities with panel quilts. So that's it for today. We'll see you again next time. Bye.
Bye.